One eternity later.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're back. It's the end of the month. July is pretty much done. It's in the books. So, the only question we can ask. What did I watch
in July?
So I've watched a bunch of stuff on Netflix recently. The first film, it's not a film, it's actually a series that I've watched this month. Transformers War for Cybertron. I've actually binge watched the entire first two seasons. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted from a Transformers property. There's no humans. It's all about the Autobots versus the Decepticons. What leads them to Earth. At the start of the original series from the 80s. It's kind of like a prequel series. Really great animation, great voice acting. I just thought it was great. There's loads of moral dilemmas between both the Decepticon side and the Autobot side. There's just a lot of great drama in this series. There's some great action too, but it's primarily a drama about the two factions and about what is right for Cybertron. A really great show. I love it. Yeah, so as I'm filming this, it is the 1st of August, and yesterday season 3 of Transformers War for Cybertron come out. I've not watched it yet, but I'm so excited because the way season 2 ended, it's hype. So I'm looking forward to checking out season 3 of this. If you're into Transformers and you haven't checked out War for Cybertron, I wholeheartedly recommend it. It's great. Next up, I watched a really good Jaws ripoff. It was known as a Jaws ripoff. I think it's a great movie. It's called Grizzly. It's basically Jaws but with a bear. It came out in 1976. It is a great film. I think it's really good. I highly recommend it. It's just a really great kind of slow burn animal attack film. I think it's great. I think you should go and watch it. I really enjoyed it. I'm thinking of upgrading my 88 Films release to the Severin release, because the Severin release is quite a nicer release from what I've seen. But yeah, Grizzly, have you seen it? Let me know down below. It's a really good animal attack film. I highly recommend it. Next up, we have Army of the Dead, and people probably knows my opinion on this, but yeah, I thought it was very average at best and pretty awful at worst. It's way too long. It could have been a 90-minute movie and it would have been a lot better in terms of tightening up those scenes, making the pace a bit more snappy, and just would have been a much more entertaining film. This film for me is the culmination of Netflix giving Zack Snyder this project and saying go nuts, and it just comes across as basically a vanity project for Zack Snyder, and I feel that the film is way too long. There's like 2 introductions, which is the worst you can do for a film. You should have an introduction and get into the actual meat of the film. But no, there's 2 introductions. There's the introduction, which is a good part of the film, which is the beginning, which introduces the threat, which is great. You want to learn, what the threat is, and then it goes into this montage, and it's so unnecessary because this montage was meant to introduce the characters, but yet they spend an hour after that introducing the characters again before they even get into the meat of the plot, and it's just drag. It was just unbelievably too long and too basically stretched thin as possible to make it as long as possible, and it just really hurt the film for me. I know there's fans out there of the film, and there's people that do like this movie. I just thought it was generally quite bad, too long. Dave Bautista can't act. The characters, didn't really care about the characters that much. The gore was quite cool. It was nice to see the gore being really kind of out there and really kind of violent. It was nice to see that, especially in the zombie film. You want that. Zombie Tiger was cool. Yeah, that's really about that. The whole concept that you got these intelligent zombies was pretty interesting, but they kind of go nowhere with it. There's one line where it says, like, when they walk in and there's all these dead zombies everywhere, there's like, oh, they're not dead, they're just like dehydrated. As soon as it rains, they'll rise up. We didn't see that in the whole of the film, but it was just a piece of dialogue and they didn't really show you it. This film, yeah, I didn't like this film. I thought it was trash, absolute trash. Next up, I watched all 3 seasons of Ash vs Evil Dead. This is one of the best TV shows I've seen in a long time. It's one of the most violent TV shows I've ever seen. It does not compromise on its gore whatsoever. It's wonderful. It has that perfect balance between just grotesque horror and just hilarious comedic moments. It's perfectly balanced in its tones. It does end abruptly because it was cancelled, but I feel the abrupt end, it doesn't feel like you're missing anything. It does feel like this is the end, and it could tell more stories. Sure, it could tell more stories, but I feel the ending isn't such a kick in the balls as you might think it might be, being that it was cancelled abruptly. But yeah, Ash vs Evil Dead is brilliant. It proves to me that these high regarded horror franchises can be brought to television in a really strong way. fingers crossed for that Chucky TV series. I hope that goes in the right direction. I think Ash vs Evil Dead proved to me that these horror franchises can translate to TV very well. So yeah, I recommend Ash vs Evil Dead. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it start to finish. I thought it was great. Next up, we have a little indie horror film called Altered, directed by the guy who brought us Blair Witch Project. Very underrated film, this one. I think it's very underrated, and I feel it's a very unknown film, very obscure for a lot of people. It's very low budget. It's like a single location kind of film. It's about basically these group of men. They were abducted by aliens when they were younger. One of their friends died in the process, and now they go out as adults and they basically capture their own alien to basically find more information on what they wanted from them and why, you know, they are abducting people. And it just obviously, like, you know, insanity ensues. It goes crazy. It's a really fun movie. If you like those kind of low budget single location movies that have a lot of charm, the characters are all likable, and it has just some cool ideas for an alien abduction movie, I really recommend Altered. I think it's fantastic. Next up, I watched the first two Fear Street movies. I've not got around to the third one yet. I just haven't. I think I've been putting it off on purpose, because you'll see why. So Fear Street Part 1, 1994, was great. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really decent homage to the 90s kind of Scream-esque horror films. Really great movie. I thought it was really fun. Then I watched the sequel, or prequel, whatever it tries to be, Fear Street Part 2 at 1978. I thought it was just not good. I thought it was bad. There were key plot points that movie was. There's a purpose why it's a prequel to show you certain things that progresses the modern day kind of plot line. But I did feel that, you know, because it's a prequel, we know the lore, we know what's going on. They didn't really have any surprises. And I just didn't think it was very good. So that's that. I didn't think the prequel sequel was very good. And I haven't watched the third one on the basis that I'm just like, do I really care enough to watch the third movie? Let me know down below. Should I watch Fear Street Part 3? Let me know, because I didn't like Fear Street Part 2 very much. Next up, this whole next chunk, I did a ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise recently. You can check it on my channel, the link down below. So all these will be those films. If you want my further opinions on those, check out the ranking. But I'm just going to go quickly through these very quickly, just to let you know what I thought. Just quick thoughts. Just Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, it's really good. It's got great sound design, but it still doesn't really do much for me. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, I really enjoyed it on the first watch. On a rewatch for that marathon, it's really bad. It doesn't make sense. It's got a really questionable decisions. It's too goofy for its own good. They didn't retain the tone of the first film, and I feel that hurt the franchise overall. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, boring, uninteresting, probably the worst in the franchise. If it wasn't for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, I'm just going to do exactly the same as I did in my ranking. 3 words, guys. Fuck this movie. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 remake. Spoilers for my ranking. It's my favourite in the franchise. I think it's great. Leatherface is scary as fuck. Jessica Biel is gorgeous and also really good in the film as an actress. Yeah, I just really like the movie. I thought it was great. I think it's got a great look. If you don't come out watching that film sweating because it's the most sweaty film I've ever seen in my life, I don't know who you are. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I love it. I thought it was great. Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, like I've said in my ranking, it opens well, but then kind of just degrades into a bit of a monotony. It's all right. It's all right. It's nothing insulting. Texas Chainsaw 3D. Very surprisingly good. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was decent. I thought it had a good look. I liked the story. Yeah, I thought it was good. It was a pretty good one, especially where it had really bad reviews upon its release. And then finally we have Leatherface. Shit film. Don't watch it. I don't recommend it. It's bad. Next up, we have a film called Vacancy, which is a kind of a single location thriller film about a couple, an estranged couple trying to get somewhere, but they break down and they go to this motel, and this motel's got kind of a seedy kind of underbelly to it. They only bring in people so they can actually like kill them. They create snuff films and then sell these snuff films to people. It's a really great thriller kind of escape movie where this couple are trying to escape their situation. Really suspenseful, really nail-biting suspense. It's a great film. I really recommend it. Wholeheartedly recommend it. I think it's great. Next up we have a film that I was recommended, but unfortunately I didn't like that much, which is a film called Feast, which is another single location film set in a bar where these monsters turn up and basically pick off these people one by one, and these people are trying to survive. It opens well, like it's got a very kind of break the fourth wall, and it kind of understands what it is. It's having fun with itself kind of opening. That was fun. That was quite a cool way of opening the film, where it kind of like, it's very self-aware. Once the film gets going, all that self-awareness goes away, and it just becomes a bit of a monotonous, boring, bland film where you don't see the monsters until the end. So that kind of takes away the whole monster element, really. And yeah, I didn't think any of the characters were likeable. I thought they were all just shit characters, and there was nothing for me to really hold on to, and I just didn't think it was very good. There's a better monster movie set in a bar, which is called Grabbers, and I recommend it. I think Grabbers is great. Even if you like Feast, I recommend Grabbers, because I think Grabbers is just great. It's a great single location horror film. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and it's just great. I love it. Grabbers, if you've not seen Grabbers, check it out. I don't recommend Feast. I didn't like Feast at all. I thought it was very monotonous and a bit dull, and didn't have very good characters. Sorry. The final film I watched this month of July, probably the best film I've seen this month. I ended the month on a good one, I suppose. This film is called The Night Comes For Us. It stars Joe Taslim, and yeah, think The Raid in terms of its action, and then up the violence by 10. This is an action film that I will say probably is the most violent action film I've ever seen. The violence is realistic, gritty, and brutal, and you feel everything. It is just balls to the wall from start go. It's just action on board. There is some awesome action sequences in this film where you fucking feel every punch, you feel every stab, you feel every other thing they use to hit people with. It's brutal. It's such a great film. If you love action movies, if you love The Raid specifically, because this is very much like The Raid in terms of its violent action, I think you will love The Night Comes For Us. It's awesome. It's the best film I've seen this month, and I think you could get a good kick out of it. No pun intended, because there's a lot of kicking in this film. There's a lot of punching in this film. There's a lot of stabbing in this film. And apparently everyone has machetes in this movie for some fucking reason. It's really good. I really recommend it. The Night Comes For Us. Fucking awesome. So they are the films and the TV shows I have watched in the month of July. If you like this video and would like to see more, maybe consider subscribing. It means a lot to me, honestly. Hit the like button as well for the YouTube algorithm. It's the best way to get my videos out to the YouTube world. As always, I have been Jason, and I am gonna go and watch some more movies for August.